feeds your daily Cougar obsession. Listen to Cougar Tracks weeknights at 6:30 on KSL News Radio and on the KSL Sports YouTube page.
All right, welcome back. It is First and 12 right here on KSL News Radio. Thanks for being with us. Final episode of the season. Year number 3 in the books for us. Mitch, can you believe we've already been doing this for 3 years?
It's been a lot of fun. I enjoy this show every single week. And look, this league keeps us on our heels. You know, we're going into a championship week where it's, 2 new teams again.
Yeah,
so
again.
It's those 3 years of covering this league in depth in this market and 3 years with 2 different teams each and every one of those years in the conference championship game. And that just highlights why the Big 12, it's a different league.
You're going to go down to Arlington. That should be a lot of fun. We're going to have a lot of folks there from KSL Sports, of course, and it's just going to be a blast to be able to cover it. And it seems like, that obviously is a huge, huge piece of the news from this week. And so let's get things started off here. Let's start off with the X's and O's off the field, though, about how this thing's going to get worked out from a coaching standpoint. Let's jump in here. It's our Big 12, our First and 12 headlines. Let's do it.
12 headlines.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12.
The dozen storylines that shape this week of Big 12 football. Headline 1.
Coaching Carousel hits the Big 12 as rumors of Kalani Sitake, a head candidate for Penn State, as questions about his candidacy take over the Big 12 championship game press conference.
Yeah, that's your fault, dude.
Yeah, that was my fault. Look, full disclosure, I'd love to say, how are you going to stop David Bailey? How are you going to stop Romello Height? But when you're in a spot where you're thinking, because I'm going in with the mindset where it was like, this might be the last time I'm ever asking Kalani Sitake a question. And you got to ask him the tough questions.
Yeah. Oh, who was it? This just brought up shades of... we were talking with Stanford's athletic director. We interviewed him, I think... the play-by-play voice of Stanford Athletics the week that they played BYU. And we were like, hey, what's the athletic director about? He's like, it's not the athletic director. It's the, Morgan Stanley director of all athletics at Stanford. It was like the office of the, and it's like, it has a name to it because
sponsored by someone.
It's not sponsored because it's Stanford. They're too cool. And so it's like a name of a massive donor, Now, Brett Yormark's like, give me a hit. Look, this is going to be the crumble head coaching job at BYU if we're not too careful, is what I'm saying.
We'd like to formally announce the Jason McGowan crumble BYU football head coach, Kalani Sitake. He's here for the future. It's aspirational.
So I think that the amount of stuff that's been talked about, we don't have enough time to break this one out. We'll get into it a little bit more later in the show, but that obviously was a huge piece of this. And it's a little bit unfortunate because if you're BYU, you can't afford to have any kind of distraction. And this is I would dare say, not a good distraction for BYU this week.
It's massive.
You talk about Texas Tech doesn't have one thing they're thinking about except for this dadgum game this week. And they're going right to it. And BYU could not afford to even get splintered off a little bit. And this gets the team a little bit, I think, off track. I think that's an interesting way to look at it is that how are they going to overcome all of this stuff? Because, it's a physics problem. If your brain doesn't have all the room for all the stuff you're trying to, focus on, you saw him come out a tiny bit flat against UCF last week, right? I mean, so I think some of that had to do with what Kalani described in the postgame as, we're all kind of human,
and also to the point of, it's been out there that there's been talks for some time now. How distracted was Kalani last week? You have to wonder if that played a role in the slow start. I mean, even going back and listening to the KSL postgame with Greg goes, Kalani just got word in my inbox that there's going to be a Big 12 press conference on Monday. Kalani goes, oh. It's an audible oh. If you go back and listen, it's like, I was supposed to be in State College.
Like, is that about me? Is it about me?
I gotta be on.
Can I do it? Can I do it over the phone? Can I just do it? Can I do it remotely? Yeah. Kyle Whittingham, by the way, headline number 2, speaking of Coaching Carousel, it's a little bit more elementary in that sense. Now, the question is, and what would be wild is if Kalani left BYU and Kyle stayed. How wild would that be? That guy sticking around another year.
Oh, my goodness.
Now, I think Kyle has hinted enough, I think, about, he talked about how he couldn't have hung it up after last year. because of how badly they went. But he said this year has been totally different. They win 10 games. They're the number one offense in the conference. They're running the football, doing it. Like, this is a dream for him. I don't know if it's a dream to go out on a possible Vegas Bowl or, Pop-Tarts Bowl invite, but that's the nature of this thing. Bowl games just mean less now in 2025 thanks to the college football playoff. And if you're not in the college football playoff, then people think, oh, well, I'm out. The reality is Kyle Whittingham could hang it up after an 11-win season if they win that bowl game, and that would be about as good as you could do if you're Kyle Whittingham.
Headline 3, BYU versus Texas Tech in the Edward Jones Big 12 Championship game. We will break that down in depth here on the show. And headline 4, Texas Tech to close out the regular season. They dominated West Virginia 49-0, leaving no doubt who the favorite is to win the title. So Texas Tech, they just dominated really the entire season outside of that one game against ASU without Baron Morton.
The national pundits made me they're kind of writing this headline for me. BYU stumbling out of the gate to 14-0. They come back and they go on a 41-7 run to win that final game of the season at home over UCF 41-21. Basically as dominant as you could be, even if you did come out a little bit flat. But Bear Bachmeier and L.J. Martin, how about Bear Bachmeier winning, his 8th freshman of the 7th freshman of the week award on the season. And so just a phenomenal year for him. And then L.J. Martin, almost another 100-yard game for the conference's leading rusher. So great season for them in the books now officially. And then they have to wait and see what happens this weekend and then wait after that to see what their fate would look like in the postseason as well. Headline number 6 is Utah's offense. They were stale last couple. Yeah. Well, not the last couple of weeks, but really they were stale against Kansas, and obviously they had to come back against Kansas State. And so the last couple of weeks, I think people looked at Utah and went, well, hold on a minute, what's going on with this team? Because they weren't beating everybody by 35 like they had been typically in the games prior to that. So Utah gets the win, though. They end the season at 10-2 and 7-2 overall, and it's as good as you could do. I mean, they lost to the 2 best teams in the conference so far.
And honestly, what's frustrating in the case of Utah, and Yormark kind of touched on this, but if Utah was in the SEC and Big Ten, they have a resume that says they're in.
Yeah, absolutely.
They lost to 2 teams that are in the top 11 of the playoff rankings.
Yep.
They should be in. They dominated everyone else pretty much. Utah, honestly, should be a team that gets a lot more consideration, but it seems like they hit a ceiling when it came to the playoff rankings.
We see how this thing goes. We already know the score with those with the national pundits,
we already know what's happening there, and that's headline 7 going forward with Dave Aranda. He's going to be the head coach in 2026, but they did not close out 2025, the Baylor Bears, with a win. They lost to close out the season. They fell to Houston.
At home, too.
And they're going to miss a bowl game. There was a lot of talk, Alex, that maybe Baylor could win the Big 12 this year, and they go 5-7.
Yeah, we were a couple of those guys that said, hey, Baylor, TCU, those teams should and could be in the mix, and they really should have. Think about the quarterbacks that they had, the potential on offense. Not able to get it done, but yeah, Dave Aranda, no seat hotter in the conference than him right now going into next year. Houston ends their season maybe the most unexpected and an impressive year. Willie Fritz and his guys go 9-3 on the year. I was impressed with the way Houston did this one, and good for him. I'm glad. I hope he sticks around for a long time. I think he can turn everything up at that program down there.
And they've got a 5-star quarterback that's expected to sign tomorrow, so bright days ahead for Houston football. Headline 9, Kansas State sneaks into the bowl season. There's 10 teams from the Big 12 going bowling. K-State's one of them. They finished the year at 6-6.
Well, let's talk about the people who didn't do it. That's headline 10. West Virginia, UCF, Oklahoma State, Colorado, Kansas, all falling short. The big shocks, of course, are teams like Kansas and even Colorado, who fell off so badly this year. People are looking at them now going, what are you guys going to do going forward? I think Kansas is the biggest question mark because Lance Leipold, what are you going to do with that guy? Colorado, it's all going to be about whatever Prime does, and then you go from there.
With how volatile the coaching carousel is, I think Kansas probably holds on Leipold for another year, but got to get it right next season if you're Leipold. Headline 11, Arizona finishes out the season 9-3. They take down ASU in the Territorial Cup in a game that was played in Tempe. So they go on the road and get it done. ASU finishes the year after being the Big 12 champ a year ago at 8-4.
The college football playoff rankings, headline number 12, they're not really going to matter until next week. The Big 12 championship and all the other conference championships. I mean, we could see at this point next season, or at this point next week, we could be talking about 2 group of 6 teams in. We could be talking about whatever the chaos is that the ACC has brought us. Thank you very much. And then whatever the national pundits are going to do to make sure and lock out some teams that probably deserve being there. But we'll talk about that next week when it happens. So there you go. Your Big 12 headlines when we come back. What do we learn in this second year of the 16-team Big 12? We'll chat about that and much more. Stay with us right here. It is KSL News Radio. It's 1st and 12.